Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another unboxing and review video. Now today I'm super excited to be taking a look at none other than the Mondo Batman the Animated Series figure. This is of course Batman, however, it's the black cowl variant. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, they've initially released the normal version of Batman from of course the animated series with the darker blue cape and cowl with the lighter blue inside. This version is an all black representation. I know it's not entirely accurate to the show, however there's one key accessory that this guy comes with that I absolutely have to have, and that is the Bruce Wayne head sculpt. The initial Batman figure came with a Hardak head and a couple of other ones. This one has the Bruce Wayne head sculpt, and I cannot wait to see if it's any good alongside either this black cowl version or even popping it onto the original figure as well. I don't know which way I'm going to go in terms of my display, whether or not I'm going to prefer this black cowl version or the more accurate cartoony version. We'll have to wait and see. Now I did pick this up directly from Mondo, and I will include the link down in the description below. I do believe they are currently still in stock. I've just reviewed Mr. Freeze, and there will be a Catwoman coming very soon as well. I'm incredibly excited to pick up that figure. Now, if you do like seeing these really early Hot Toys 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review videos, why not hit that subscribe and bell notification icon so you're notified as soon as brand new Hot Toys, third party, or other 1/6 scale videos go live on the channel. Either way, what we're going to do now is lay the box flat in the light box and do the unboxing. And here we have the box art for the Mondo Batman. You'll have to forgive the enormous size of this box. It actually doesn't fit entirely within my light box, but as you can see, nice picture of Batman on the front. It's the exact same image as the previous one, except this time you can see a nice black cape and cowl, and of course the figure is visible on the inside there. Now there is a bit of a quote on the inside of the front sleeve, which is pretty darn awesome. It says Batman, and there's a Batman logo, and of course on the back a really nice bat logo with the buildings down below. I would love to get this as an art print by Mondo. Now Mondo does a lot of art prints. They also do vinyl record covers, and they also do 1/6 scale figures. So this company is a very diverse one in terms of the stuff that they manufacture, which is really darn awesome. I love it when companies branch out and do stuff that's really different to their bread and butter, which is of course what we're seeing here with Mondo. Either way, as you can see, we have the figure here himself in his clear plastic clam tray. Looks like some of his accessories have gone flying around in transit, unfortunately, but I'm sure the figure itself is going to be just fine. Now on the previous version, the blue cowled version, it did have a few paint issues, but it seems like, just like Mr. Freeze, Mondo have tightened up their tolerances, especially when it comes to QC. This guy is looking absolutely flawless, which I really do love. It also seems like his cape is made of this rubbery type material, which is very different from the more sort of hard glossy material that we got on the previous figure. But let's set him aside for now and see what else he does come with. So it looks like, of course, he's coming with that Bruce Wayne head sculpt. I apologize for the glare, but there is a plastic layer over the top, which is, of course, reflecting the light. We'll see all of this stuff in much closer detail in just a second. Bunch of hands, his display base, and, of course, on the other side, we do get his display base arm and a few more accessories. Either way, what we're going to do now is get all of the accessories laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything he comes with. And here we have all of the accessories that come with the black cowl variant of Mondo Batman. Now let's take a look at the display base first. This is pretty much the exact same style display base that we got with the previous Batman figure and of course Mr. Freeze as well. I wouldn't be surprised if this was what we were getting with Catwoman because it keeps the line nice and consistent. I really like the way this looks. Very, very straightforward. I do wish the display base arm was a little bit further back though, because as it stands, he sits a little bit too forward on the display base. Also, I'm not a fan of the huge crotch grabber on the front there. Really not the ideal way of doing it. I wish it was just a fork style piece that sort of sat forward like some of the previous Hot Toys figures. Either way, it still definitely does do the job. Now let's take a look at the Bruce Wayne head sculpt, because this was one of the pieces, one of the reasons I should say, why I bought this set, and I have to say it looks pretty darn good. There is one issue that I do have, and it's the skin tone. It's looking a little bit yellow. I know it's that cartoony sort of representation, but I don't really love the way it looks. It looks a little little bit too yellow in my opinion. I wish they put a little bit more pink pigment in the paintwork itself. The same sort of color skin tone carries on throughout the rest of the cowls. They look good, don't get me wrong, but they look like they've got a little bit of jaundice, not really what you want out of an animated Batman figure, but at least we are getting that head sculpt. Now, one cool piece that I didn't even know came with this was just floating around in the bottom of the clam tray is this separate little cowl section. You're probably thinking, why on earth do we have two? Well, one is black and one is the older blue style piece from the original Batman, so that means you can use this unmasked Bruce Wayne head with the original figure. That's something that Mondo didn't have to do. I am so impressed that they went ahead and did that. That is totally awesome. Now, he does come with the exact same accessories as the previous Batman figure. This is, of course, the canister of chicken soup that he uses to combat Mr. Freeze. Really straightforward, just a flask style piece painted in those animated style colors. He does come with the Bat logo version of a Batarang, at least I think that's what that is. It's pretty straightforward, not my preferred design for Batarangs. He does come with a cassette tape, I assume the one that Man-Bat screeches were recorded on, painted and detailed really nicely. He does, of course, come with a rebreather as well, with a little fabric strap on the back to attach to the head sculpt. Do be careful with this, it might damage the head sculpt because of it just being hard plastic on the front there. There is nothing to protect the sculpt itself. He also does come with this little piece. There's been some speculation online as to what this is. If you know, let me know down in the comments below. I'm not entirely sure what this piece is. He does also come with a more traditional animated series style Batarang. This is the one I do prefer. He also does come with two versions of his grappling gun. You can see one with the little claw folded up, painted really nicely with a little red trigger on the end, and of course one with a wire, so you can have this either attached around a bad guy or attached to another shelf, so it looks like he's about to rappel away, which is really awesome. He does also come with a bunch of hands, all have their own individual wrist pegs. I really do appreciate that they've gone and done that. Either way, what we're going to do now is get the figure itself out here and take a closer look. And here we have the Batman himself standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. And I have to say, he is looking really, really good. Just standing there, he has the silhouette that you'd expect based off the Batman in the animated series. He looks like he's been ripped straight out of the cartoon and thrown into the light box. That is one of the key reasons why I love Mondo's figures. They have such a love and attention to detail for these releases, and it comes across in the final product. Now, whether or not I'm coming around to having a non-screen accurate version of Batman, well, that remains to be seen throughout the course of this video. Do I prefer the cell sort of shaded look of the original one? Well, we'll have to wait and see when we're doing the comparison. But for now, just know that I'm starting to really like the way this guy looks. And here we have the Black Cowl animated Batman figure up close and personal, and I have to say, he looks really darn good. If you've seen my previous Batman the Animated Series Mondo figure review, you kind of already know what to expect, but if you haven't, this guy is really, really impressive. Just standing there, he has the silhouette of animated Batman, and that's the exact reason why I wanted to pick up this figure, aside, of course, for the Bruce Wayne head sculpt. Now, I really am starting to like the black cape and cowl. I know it's not entirely accurate to the show, there's supposed to be that blue lining here, but I still like how sleek this guy does look. The actual paint on the mouth plate itself, still a little bit too yellow for my liking, but overall I'm still very, very impressed. The grey is this nice matte style finish, and it works perfectly for the character. Now, we will go through all the articulation, and you do have to be a little bit careful when you're moving stuff around when it comes to the paintwork itself, but I'll explain why a little bit later in the video. Now, the rest of the outfit in terms of the utility belt and trunks, this is a separate overlay, it seems, that's over the top, and it looks pretty darn good. It matches very nicely to what we've seen in the animated series. Panning the camera down to give you a closer look at the rest of the figure. As you can see, obviously the grey carries on throughout. It's painted in the exact same way as you'd find on the top torso. It's very, very clean, and I really like how they've done that. The boots themselves are an included piece. It's not a separate overlay, so it's all sculpted on the one piece. It's very clean, that separation between the grey and the black there, which looks absolutely fantastic. You can also see the cape has the nice points down the bottom. This one doesn't come with a deluxe sort of version that has the cape billowing off to the side, unlike we got with the previous figure. That, though, I'm not really missing. It was a very, very heavy and cumbersome piece to get him posed up with, so as I said, I'm not really missing that piece at all. Overall though, I'm absolutely loving the detail. I also am starting to really come around to the idea of having a black animated Batman series figure. Just going over articulation for the black Cowl Mondo Batman. I'm going to be a little bit more careful with my copy of the figure. When you get yours in hand, I'm sure you can push the joints a little bit further than I'm willing to go. Now, starting off with the head sculpt itself, it is on a traditional 1/6 scale style double dumbbell joint, so that means you get a bunch of range of motion and it is very smooth. You can see that there's a weird layer forming on top of the cape and cowl, so when you're moving it around, it's scratching it off. Nothing to be worried about, it's tucked up underneath the head sculpt. Anyway, now in terms of the arms, they go out to about there. You can of course move them forward. Make sure you pivot them out first so you're not rubbing it up against the side of his upper torso. You get a really nice double bend at the elbow. You don't have a swivel at the upper bicep unfortunately, but that's totally fine because I wouldn't want to disturb the sculpt of this piece. You do have a swivel though at the lower elbow, and you do have a traditional joint sort of style piece at the wrist. Now, in terms of the upper torso, you do have a swivel. It looks like it's on a ball joint. It is a little bit more restricted, so just be careful. You do have a swivel down at the belt. Now, in terms of the legs, they do go forward, but I'm going to be very careful not to rub this piece up against that. Just bear in mind, you can do it. They also go out fairly decently. They seem like they are on ratchets, which is really good because this guy is rather top heavy. You don't want him falling over. They also do swivel up there as well. You do have a double bend at the knee, and of course, a traditional sort of 1/6 scale but action figure style joint at the ankle. Now for a quick side-by-side comparison to, of course, the original Mondo Batman figure, as you can see, there is a huge difference between the two, and that is the colors. The figure itself, underlying, is exactly the same, but the colors on the figure really do make a difference. I'm starting to prefer the black cowl version. There are so many bits and pieces that are different in terms of the way it's painted, all the way down to the gloves themselves. It doesn't have that cel-shaded look. I love the way they've done that for the original. It works perfectly, but as I said, the clean, more simple look of the black cowl version is starting to win me over. Bringing out Mr. Freeze for another side-by-side comparison. As you can see, even though the cel-shaded look doesn't carry over to the black cowl Batman, I think this still works really nicely, because Mr. Freeze isn't all that stylized. He's got a few bits and pieces here and there, but no matter which Batman you go for, because the original one I'm pretty sure is long since sold out, it's still going to look really nice alongside his rogues. And of course, whenever Catwoman does come out, I think it's going to complement her very nicely, because of course her outfit is black and grey as well. So as I said, no matter which version of Batman you're going for, whether you're getting this one for a standalone piece or to go with the rest of the line, I think you're going to be pretty happy. Now, for those who are interested, I just quickly wanted to show you what the Bruce Wayne head sculpt looks like on the original animated series Batman body. So as you can see, I have used that lighter sort of bluish color rather than the black version of the cowl folded back. It sits on there really nicely, but as you can see, the head sculpt also looks really, really good on the body. Now I'm torn. Do I display the Bruce Wayne head sculpt on this body, or do I do it on the new black cowl version? This looks absolutely fantastic. Just wrapping up on the black cowl variant of the Batman the Animated Series figure from Mondo. Now, initially, at the start of this video, in the unboxing segment, I said I didn't really know which version I did prefer. Now, towards the end of the video, if you ask me the same question, I'd have to say this one right here. It's so incredibly crisp and clean. That being said, I still do love the original, and it has its place in my collection, but that cel-shaded design maybe, just maybe, doesn't translate so well to 1/6 scale, especially when it comes to this release right here. Would I rather them do the rest of the line in this format, ditching those lines in the lower abdomen area and those sort of highlight pieces? Maybe. We'll have to wait and see. It's a solid maybe from me, but if you ask me if I prefer this one to that one, I have to say yes, I really do prefer this black cowl version. I don't know what it is about this clean, more simplistic look to the figure, but it just speaks to me, and it looks absolutely fantastic. It almost has that new Batman Adventure sort of vibe, while still being that classic Batman the Animated Series silhouette that we know and love. That is one of the key reasons why I love this piece. Should that Bruce Wayne head sculpt have come with that initial figure? Yeah, probably, it really should have, but I'm not going to complain. At least they've given it to us at all. I would love to see a brown suited Bruce Wayne figure in the future from Mondo. I would really love, as I said, to add that to the line. It would be a really nice background piece to the rest of the figures. Now, I personally picked up my figure from Mondo themselves. The website is Mondo Tees or something like that. I'll have the link in the description below if you'd like to pick up one for yourself. I do believe this one is still in stock, so if you're getting the Catwoman and Mr. Freeze and you're in need of a Batman, this one is a worthy addition to your collection. Also, while you're down in the description, why not check out the link to 6 Scale Network, the brand new awesome Facebook group. Come along, chat figures, share photos of your collection, and of course, see what's coming up next on the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.